Testing. Hello? 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 Is this thing on? Hello? Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Above It All program. I'm here once again. I'm wearing a blanket today because I am fucking cold. And I'm wearing a blanket, and Max the dog is here. He's hanging out, sniffing my foot. And I got a program. This is the Above It All show. I'm trying a new morning routine. So woke up at a while ago, and now this is like the middle of my day. So just trying to get up in the morning, trying to do stuff. I'm petting Max right now. That's why I'm leaning over, because he's being a dog. Max, are you a dog? He said yes. We got chatters in the chat room. Oh, thank you, Max. So I'm going to be doing today's show from the inside of my blanket. And I'm cold, so bear with me. We're going to be talking about some goddamn shit, okay? You know those shows where they tell you at the start what's going to be on the agenda so that people can decide whether or not they want to show up for the whole show or not? Yeah, fuck that, okay? I'm not doing that shit. Not anymore. I want this to be like a slot machine. I want you to hold on here. Maybe she's going to talk about something interesting. Maybe. Right? And you just hold out hope. New York nurses' strike ends after tentative deal reached with hospitals. A nurses' strike at two private New York City hospital systems has come to an end after 7,000 nurses spent 3 days on the picket line. The New York State Nurses Association Union reached tentative deals with Mount Sinai Health System and Montefiore Health System, Health System, which operates 3 hospitals in the Bronx that had been struck. Okay, interesting language. The nurses had been arguing that immense staffing shortages had caused widespread burnout, hindering their ability to properly care for their patients. So I talked about this earlier this week. Once again, I want to remind everyone that striking works. It works. It's a functional way to go about getting change. But ultimately, what they were striking for is not really anything for them. It's more so they're striking on behalf of the patients. Because once again, if you have 10 patients that you're supposed to be taking care of, and they're all buzzing, they're all ringing at the same time, each patient's quality of care is going to plummet. It's going to become disastrous, right? And so what they really advocated for is higher staff, right? More staff. Well, higher, maybe not, but more staff, right? So that instead of having 10 patients per nurse, maybe it's 5 patients per nurse. Maybe we can even get to 1 patient, 1 nurse, right? Maybe, who knows, right? But let's keep going. The union said the deal will provide enforceable, safe staffing ratios. Now, I'm interested in how enforceable this is and what the mechanisms will be. For all inpatient units at Mount Sinai and Montefiore, Montefiore? I don't know. So that there will always be enough nurses at the bedside to provide safe patient care, not just on paper. At Montefiore, the hospital agreed to financial penalties for failing to comply with agreed upon staffing levels in all units. Montefiore said the agreement also includes 170 new nursing positions, a 19% increase in pay, lifetime health coverage for eligible retirees, and adding significantly more nurses in the ER. So that's it. Again, that is what they were striking for. So when the media was talking about these selfish nurses, look how selfish they are. Nurses were quite literally striking for better conditions for their patients, because these health insurance fucking private hospital scam industries, these fucking disgusting fraudulent scam industries, what they do is they want to make money. They don't give a fuck about your quality of care. They don't give a fuck about your comfort when you're in the hospital. All they care about is how much money they can extract from you before you die. That's why you're not allowed to commit suicide in the hospital. You gotta hang on so that they can continue to bill your health insurance, etc. That is why when you go to the hospital in the United States of America, you get treated like fucking garbage. You get treated like trash. Unless you're rich, then everyone's sucking your dick in the goddamn fucking whatever. Right? So, and that's really all that it boils down to. This is why we shouldn't have scammers operate our healthcare industry. It's a little shocking, right? Right? We shouldn't have known scammers. You know, Bernie Madoff should not be in charge of the healthcare industry. Sam Bankman-Fried should not be the guy in charge of whether or not you're allowed to have a nurse. This is bullshit. So once again, strikes work. Strikes fucking work. Unions fucking work. And not only the strikes and unions work for the people striking, but they work for everybody involved. Everyone wins when anyone goes on strike, except for the bosses. But you know what? Fuck the bosses. Fuck them. Fuck them. So anyway, you can read the rest of this if you'd like. Mount Sinai called the agreement fair and responsible. Yeah, if it's fair and responsible, why didn't you come up with it a week ago, you fucking assholes? But anyway, once again, strikes fucking work, so tell that to your friends. It's cold here, everybody. I am fucking freezing, so I'm doing this show from the inside of my blanket. I'm inside the blanket today, so I'm wearing a giant blanket on because it is cold. Today, we got Nicholas in the chat room watching from work. Ha ha, wow. So fucking funny. So fucking funny. How about you think about doing your job, asshole? These fucking typical Generation Z, more like Generation Brain Dead, these fucking morons jacking off at the goddamn work. How about you fucking do something? What are you on break? What are you on lunch? It's 10 o'clock. Why are you taking a lunch break unless you're slacking off on the clock? Yeah, don't make me rat you out to the boss, you fucking freak. Oh! 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 We got a show here today. Today is, I don't know what day, Thursday actually. I do know what day it is. And I'm wearing a blanket on. I've got a blanket, and I'm cold, and I'm cold. I don't know what else to say. Like, what else do you need?
They were.
Oh. All right, everybody. Not too long ago, Donald Trump announced that he had an NFT collection, non-fungible tokens, my friends. And, well, you know, there's numerous scandals, myriad scandals, if you will, in relation to these tokens, whatever. The art, so to speak, was pretty much all stolen. The art was horrible. It was stock images that, you know, copywritten images that they didn't have permission to use. It was a bunch of fucking garbage. But anyway, I I saw this clip. This is funny. This is from a couple weeks ago, but I missed it and it's hilarious. And so I wanted to talk about this just because it's funny. So this is Donald Trump shilling his NFTs on One American News Network, dated December 22nd. Let's watch.
Roundly criticized and mocked by even some of your biggest supporters. I myself, Mr. President, I don't invest in NFTs or crypto. I invest in tangible assets. A lot of your base does, a lot of them. So when I saw this, I was miffed. I thought, NFTs, what? They're glorified PDFs. These are intangible assets. But you produced 45,000. Within 24 hours, they sold out and more than doubled in value. So you proved many of us wrong on the monetary side. Who introduced you to NFTs and why do you believe in them?
Well, I knew nothing about them. And then a group came, and I love the art. They showed me the art. You know, it's sort of comic book art when you think of it, right? But they showed me the art. And I said, gee, I always wanted to have a 30-inch waist. But, you know, I'm looking at this stuff, and I'm saying, wow, that's sort of cute. That might sell. That might sell. They thought it would sell in 6 months. It sold in...
Okay. Now, once again, I don't know how I missed this one, but Donald Orange J Man is calling his NFT collection cute. All right, let's just watch this again.
When you think of it, right? But they showed me the art, and I said, gee, I always wanted to have a 30-inch waist. But, you know, I'm looking at this stuff, and I'm saying, wow, that's sort of cute. That might sell. That might sell. They thought it would sell in 6 months. It sold in 6 hours. And it set like a record, I understand, like a record. It's been incredible. And, you know, if you bought a card for $99, I guess it's, you know, much, much higher than that. And I heard the Wall Street Journal or somebody said it was the investment of the year. So, you know, no, I was criticized, really criticized when it was announced.
Right.
Because they said, what's he doing this? And then when the success came about, because, you know, again, because NFT is not a hot category right now. It was 2-3 years ago, I guess. But it's not a hot category.
Right. I'm asking you as Donald Trump, the money man. I mean, you have invested your life in tangible assets. And so the question is, are you looking at NFTs as this kind of this new world of cryptocurrency that is the future?
No,
or is it just you're playing with it?
I viewed it differently. I didn't view it as investment. I viewed it as I thought they were cute. I mean, for 99.
Okay. Hold the phone here for a second here. Hold the fucking phone. Has anyone ever heard Donald Trump say the word cute? Like, this sounds like a fucking, like a secret tape recording from Epstein Island or something. Like, when has he ever said that word before? Like, I'm serious, man. He's calling this shit cute. And once again, I want to remind everyone, these so-called pieces of artwork are not cute even remotely. It's like fucking cartoonized stock photos that they stole from Google and Getty Images, right? This is insane fucking shit. Okay, let's keep going.
Cute. I mean, for $99, you're getting these visions that are very beautiful and interesting.
What?
You're getting these visions that are very...
Did he say visions? For $99, you're getting visions? I can spend like a tenth of that on like fucking psychedelic drugs and have way better visions than whatever the fuck this guy is talking about. What? For $99, you get cute visions, according to Donald Trump. I gotta scroll back.
Investment, I viewed it as I thought they were cute. I mean, for $99, you're getting these visions that are very beautiful and interesting, I think. And I viewed it that way, much more so than as an NFT. But NFT, as you know, was very hot 2 or 3 years ago, and then it cooled down. It's a category that happens. It cooled down. So when they announced it's NFT, everyone said, what's he doing that for? That's so cold. And I did it, and I guess it was one of the most successful, maybe the most successful, but it was certainly in terms of speed. The whole thing was sold out almost immediately. Pretty amazing.
So there you go. In case you wanted to know what Donald Trump, his opinion is on the NFTs a couple weeks ago. But I thought that was hilarious. Fucking these visions. What the fuck, man? What the fuck? This guy is seeing shit, quite literally. There's no content here. I just thought that would be funny. So that's pretty much it. Hello everyone. We got a program here. We got Glam Girl Adel in the program chat room, the online internet-based chat room. We got Home in the chat room. We got Tyler in the chat room. We got Courtney and more, and many, many more users are here. Once again, I am cold as shit today. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I am cold as shit today. So, if I'm looking snug, it's because I am snug and I'm fucking cold as shit. Today. But, you know what? Let's talk about warming things up for a little bit. I covered this a little bit ago, like maybe a couple of days ago, and I want to say that I did not necessarily anticipate this being like a culture war thing, but, Republicans have power again, so anything is possible. Gas stoves. Joe Biden has weighed in on gas stoves on the side of Republicans, which is fascinating, of course, because Joe Biden is garbage. But let's check out this NBC News video here that says what the White House official response is on the proposed gas stove ban. Let's check it out.
Gas stoves is sparking a political battle in Washington.
The president does not support banning gas stoves.
On Monday, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission Chair Richard Trumka Jr. saying to Bloomberg, quote, products that can't be made safe can be banned when asked about gas stove safety. The statement sparked swift backlash from Republicans, tweeting, get your hands off our gas stoves. Democrats are coming for your kitchen appliances and calling the suggestion a weaponization of the federal bureaucracy. The commission since clarifying, tweeting CPSC isn't coming for anyone's gas stoves. Regulations apply to new products. The commission declined.
So, everybody, why is it that Republicans are just dead set on killing children? I mean, this is the so-called pro-life party. They were able to trace like almost a third of asthmatic children, right, to things like gas stoves. Now, a lot of children also are asthmatic because their parents are smokers and so forth. But, like, the idea that Republicans, like, they think that this, like, the big government's gonna barge into their house and steal their gas stove. Like, did anyone ever consider that to be remotely possible? And, of course, Joe Biden is weighing in on this on the side of Republicans. Because Joe Biden is a fucking useless piece of shit. Now, once again, whatever your fucking opinion is on gas stoves, whatever, I don't give a shit if you want to pretend like you're smart, but you're not. Right? Biden could have just ignored this. Biden could have just said, who fucking cares, whatever, no comment. Instead, he weighs in on the side of Republicans. You know who's got a vested interest in keeping gasoline-powered stoves in households in America? Carbon monoxide detector industry. You know, you can buy a carbon monoxide detector, and it detects carbon monoxide so that, if you're about to die because your body doesn't know what it is or whatever. So if you're about to die from being poisoned, the detector will tell you, right? They got a vested interest in keeping gas stoves going on. I want to see where their money is going. But anyway, all jokes aside, let's continue watching this clip because, again, Republicans freaked the fuck out over this shit.
Our request for interview saying they don't want to, quote, amplify this story that is a non-story.
Gas stoves are used by about 38% of Americans, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration. Are gas stoves safe?
And that's a question we don't really have a solid answer for. And what they're recommending is for.
Well, first of all, Dr. John Torres. Now, once again, the way these media companies work is they'll basically just find anyone to come on their show to say whatever they want. The science is already in. Gas stoves cause directly, not correlate, causal link to asthma and other health problems. Asthma and other health problems. Right? And that's not even accounting for if a gas stove malfunctions. Right? What if a gas stove malfunctions? Right? Then you got carbon monoxide leakage. Whoa! No good. Right? So gas stoves working as intended cause health issues, but also, again, gas stoves can malfunction. It's just unsafe. It's unsafe. I don't know what to tell you. Now, you can say, politically speaking, it might be difficult to upgrade the infrastructure for 38% of American households, right? You know, that's a conversation. But the idea, like, that a doctor is going to be throwing muddy water on whether or not it's safe or not, like, let's be honest, bullshit.
Further studies to find out.
A recent study by the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health
So once again, they basically just cut his answer off. Like, he was like, I don't know, maybe we got to look more into it. And then it got
studies to find out.
A recent study by the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health finding 12.7% of current childhood asthma in the U.S. may be linked to gas stove use. 9 states and
all right, so the number is 12.7%.
Washington, D.C., plus 94 local governments currently have policies that move away from fossil fuels and toward all-electric power in buildings, according to environmental protection nonprofit RMI. The American Gas Association releasing a statement saying concerns over natural gas safety are baseless and misguided.
What do you recommend to individuals like myself who have a gas stove?
Well, first and foremost, don't be afraid of your gas stove if it's working properly. Make sure your vent hood is working and is venting properly outside of the kitchen. Now, number 2, if you're cooking, and you can, especially in the summertime, open up some windows to get some ventilation.
The commission.
So that's actually really good advice. When I covered this earlier this week, that's what I said. If you have a gas-powered stove, open the windows, turn the fan on. Think about it, okay? You know, you ever see, like, those, like, restaurants where they got the gas, like, flame stove or whatever, you know, and then they cook and then, you know, you see the fire, like, go onto the side of the pan and everything, right? Okay, the fire's going onto the side of the pan. It looks cool. Whoa, look, it's super cool. But you know what what's happening there? Is it's just leaking poison in the environment and it's not even really heating the pan. When you use a gas stove, there is so much wasted heat that's not even going to heating the pan, that's just going into the atmosphere, right? Not to mention the fact that if a gas stove malfunctions, you're shit out of fucking luck. You might die in your sleep, right? So once again, the science is in on gas stoves. They're shitty, right? They're garbage when it comes to health. Now again, if we want to replace all gas stoves with modern induction electricity, I'm in. But that's a little expensive. The U.S. government wouldn't do anything like that. All they would do is regulate gas stoves out of existence. Maybe they'll toss a couple people a tax credit or two. But really, again, the government doesn't care about whether or not you're safe. The government doesn't care about whether or not you're giving a disease to your child. The government doesn't want to even educate you on how to use a gas stove, right? When's the last time you've seen a government warning on a gas stove? Please open the window before use. You don't see that. Yet, I try to buy a pack of cigarettes and they're warning me out the wham, right? I don't smoke, actually. But anyway, my point is, I try to buy a bottle of vodka and the Surgeon General's yelling down my throat. Why don't you see that shit on gas stoves? Because they don't fucking care. They don't care.
On Tuesday, adding that any action to regulate appliances would be a, quote, lengthy process, meaning for now, regulation of gas stoves remains on the back burner.
Oh, the back burner. Oh, the back burner. But anyway, so the White House essentially said, nah, we're on the side of Republicans on this one. So just wanted to say, now again, I don't care what Joe Biden's personal opinion is. I don't give a shit. But the fact that he's going to weigh in at all, he should have just said no comment. The White House should have just said, I don't know why Republicans are focused on this, no comment. Right? But instead, they're making matters worse, muddying the waters, and siding with Republicans for no reason. There's no reason that they're siding with Republicans. Republicans are wrong. Republicans lied about what this report said. Republicans said they're going to try to steal your gas stove. What? They're lying about it, and Joe Biden's basically like, fuck it, I'm on their team. Again, worse than useless. Joe Biden, under this Republican-led House of Representatives, is going to be a useless pile of shit, lame duck cocksucker, man. And again, just get ready, because he's going to be siding with Republicans a lot. I can guarantee it. But anyway, once again, to debate the science on gas stoves, you have to be a moron. Now, again, if you want to cook with a gas stove or whatever, you understand the risk, you take proper risk management mitigation, I have no problem with that. I don't think anyone has a problem with that. But the main thing we need to do is educate, and that's not what Republicans do. Like, imagine if Republicans were like, oh, they're trying to steal our gas stoves, here, everyone, here's some mandatory information that you can have, that helps you out when it comes to managing your safety with the gas stoves so that the government doesn't want to take them. The government doesn't trust you to properly take care of yourself when you're using a gas stove. So here's a point-by-point guide on how to use a gas stove. Republicans aren't doing that. They're just crying and whining. They're gonna take my goddamn gas. They're gonna take my gas. Stupid motherfuckers, man. Stupid motherfuckers. I am cold. Yeah, they should ask me to come on their shows, Pharmanistopoulos. I agree. So this is another follow-up to a story I covered earlier this week. And once again, I just want to say our government is incapable of solving this problem. Now, we can all debate until the cows come home what the proper way to end gun violence would be in this country, but the government is not here to help, and they can't help. So let's check this out. Virginia parents of 6-year-old suspected school shooter could face charges. Could? Parents gave the kid a gun, and they could face charges? What? Now again, we gotta throw the parents in jail. I don't fucking give a shit. You give a kid a gun? I'm sorry. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go directly to jail. Go directly to jail. Now, you might be saying, the parents didn't give the kid the gun. The kid found the gun. That's the parents giving the kid the gun. Oh, the parents didn't give the kid the gun. The kid just knew the combination to the locker. That's called giving the kid the gun. If you have a gun and the kid that you have somehow manages to find the gun, you have failed. You have failed. You're a shitty mom. You're a shitty dad. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you are. You are a failure. And a teacher was nearly killed as a result of your failure. We gotta stop treating parents like they're toddlers. Why is it that we treat parents like they're babies? They should be the ones teaching our babies. We can't have babies raising babies. Oh, I left my gun out. Whoops, my bad. Please don't charge me, bro. It was a mistake. Is that a joke? But this is a little bit more complicated, so let's read here. 6-year-old boy accused of shooting his Virginia teacher Friday with a gun he took from home is unlikely to be charged, but his parents could be criminally culpable depending on how the firearm was stored. I don't care how the firearm was stored. The sheer fact that the child was able to access the gun means that the firearm was not stored. I'm sorry. If the kid was able to get the gun, the firearm could have been, you know, behind like one of those like fucking shit you see in like Resident Evil. You know, you got like the eyeball detector and the steel doors and the laser beams. If the kid knows the password, it doesn't fucking matter. Okay? If the kid is able to get the gun was not stored, and therefore the way the gun was stored is irrelevant. It makes no fucking sense. Legal experts said even though it is theoretically possible under Virginia law to criminally charge a 6-year-old child, there are numerous obstacles to doing so, and it's highly unlikely any prosecutor would even try. I don't blame the 6-year-old here, I blame the parents. Virginia law does not allow 6-year-olds to be tried as adults. I mean, this is good news. I mean, like, can we talk about this? Is one of those, like, you know, lines in a news story where you're like, oh, that's a relief. We're not going to try 6-year-olds as adults. Well, I'm happy about that. I'm happy that Virginia law does not allow us to pretend that a 6-year-old is an 18-year-old, right? But there is an adult in this story, and we're not talking about the teacher who nearly got killed. We're talking about the parents. And they should be tried with attempted murder or manslaughter at the very least. I mean, come on now. Right, come on now. The idea that the kid had any idea what they were fucking doing, let's be honest. The kid had no idea what they were doing. Right? So, unless your child is like Stewie Griffin from Family Guy or some shit, let's be honest, he's not. He probably had no idea what he was doing. And you shouldn't have given him the gun in the fucking first place. So the parents here are guilty of manslaughter as far as I am concerned. There is not a single possible additional fact that could be added to this case that would change my mind. I'm sorry. Unless, let's say, the kid was given the gun by some stranger on the street, right? But if the gun was linked to their parents, the parents gave them the gun. It's that simple. Okay? It's that fucking simple. In addition, a 6-year-old is too young to be committed to the custody of the Department of Juvenile Justice if found guilty. In addition, a common law, they said in addition twice. That's redundancy, man. Like, does the journalism school still exist anymore? Like, come the fuck on now. A common law doctrine known as the infancy defense holds that children under 7 cannot be prosecuted for a crime because they are so young that they are incapable of forming criminal intent, which I agree with. Children are not able to become criminals this young, in my opinion. A judge would also have to find that the child was competent. Again, so that's not going to be happening. The student's mother legally purchased the 9mm handgun used in the shooting and stored it in the family's home. Newport News Police Chief Steve Drew revealed in a press conference on Monday. Virginia has no laws that require unattended firearms to be stored in a certain way. Because Virginia fucking sucks. Virginia fucking sucks. Virginia is a shitty fucking state that fucking sucks. I'm sorry. Cry about it. Cry about it. Virginia fucking sucks. If you have a gun in the house, and you have children in the house, and the children is able to get the gun, you have failed. You have failed. And you should go to jail. You're a negligent, irresponsible scumbag. I'm sorry. This isn't a fucking joke. We're not talking about your kid gaining access to like fucking, you know, choking hazard toys or whatever. You know, some shit that's like theoretically they could harm themselves, right? That's still bad. But we're talking about the fact that a kid got a gun and almost killed an innocent random person for no reason. I mean, seriously? Seriously? Bullshit? Well, let's keep going. Any person to recklessly leave a loaded, unsecured firearm in such a manner as to endanger the life or limb of any child under the age of 14 is guilty of a Class 1 misdemeanor? Misdemeanor? Wait a second. You're telling me I can get a felony charge for consuming heroin, but giving a kid a gun that they used in a school shooting is a misdemeanor? Is that a fucking joke? Is this a fucking joke? Again, Virginia is garbage. Virginia is fucking garbage. And our country is fucking garbage. I've said this before, but this idea that people treat guns like it's just another toy. Guns are not just another toy. Guns are destructive killing machines. The entire purpose of a gun is to end human life. At least a baseball bat can be used for sports. At least a machete can be used to cut through some, foliage in a swamp. At least a knife can be used to chop up some potatoes. A gun has one purpose: to be used to end another human being's life. That is the sole purpose of a gun. Okay? And if you're going to give guns to children, then you are a freak that doesn't deserve to have kids, and you need to go to jail. I don't give a fuck who you are. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Now, what is more likely? An evil group of gangsters are gonna fucking jump into your window, like it's something out of The Purge, and they're gonna fuck you up, and you need to get your gun from under your bed immediately. You don't have time to punch in the code. Or what's more likely, that? Or your kid's just gonna go get the gun and then shoot themselves, shoot their sister, shoot their brother, or shoot a teacher? What's more likely? Let's talk about statistics, people. Statistics, people. Let's go. Come on. Let's talk about fucking statistics. These fucking gun nuts, dude. And I'm not saying you're not allowed to have a gun. But if you have a gun, you need to know how to store it. If you don't want to store, if you want to have your gun lying around, guess what? Don't have kids. I got an easy solution for you. Don't have kids. If you have kids and you have a gun, the kid needs to be not even close to even within the realms of theoretically imaginably able to get that gun. If the kid is able to get the gun, you failed immediately. Do not pass go. Go directly to jail. So, again, what is more likely to happen? Someone's going to jump in your house and try to kill you and your whole family? Or your kid's going to take the gun and do something fucking crazy? What is more likely? Now, again, statistically speaking, it is thousands of percentage points more likely that the kid is going to get the gun and commit some sort of issue. Or maybe the parents are going to have some issue, or it's going to be a domestic abuse situation. The gun's going to be used in some fashion. And then let's imagine there is a home invasion and you have a gun and you don't know how to use it properly. There's a good chance that the home invader could get the gun. So almost, now again, if you want to have a gun for self-defense, I'm not saying you're not allowed, but what I am saying is that you need to know what the fuck you're doing. Because most of the time, these guns are used in domestic incidents, suicides, and accidents. Way, by an order of, again, thousands of percentage points more likely for suicides, accidents, or whatever than a home fucking invasion where you're successfully gonna fight off a robber. That never fucking happens, okay? That happens to maybe like 20 people a year that they're able to successfully defend against a home invasion. That's fucking storybook shit. That's fairy tale garbage. But guess what? There's thousands of related accidents to children getting guns and shooting each other, shooting themselves, or, a drunken partner taking the gun and using it against their fucking family, whatever. Okay, so again, this fucking storybook bullshit about guns, it's made up. And if you have kids and you have a gun, you are responsible for that gun. Once the kid gets the gun, it's already over for you. It's done. You're no longer a parent. You're just a patient in a mental hospital, or you're a prisoner in a prison cell. That's it. Those are the only two options. Pick one. You're no longer a parent. I'm sick of these fucking freaks, man. Sci-fi, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I'm genuinely asking you, like, are you, like, paying attention at all to what I'm saying? Like, seriously? When did I say there's more child shooting accidents than home invasions? I never said that. I said, if there is a home invasion, right, which, by the way, of the 1.4 million home invasions, how many of them are when the people are not home? A vast fucking majority, right? So if you're going to go in to someone's house, right, to steal shit, you would wait for them to leave the fucking house. And if you've left the house when your home is invaded or burglarized, right, guess what? You're not going to be able to be Clint Eastwood and fucking shoot that guy with your shotgun. It's not going to fucking happen, right? So again, if you're just comparing home invasions to child accidents with guns, you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about, right? So again, I don't know what the hell it is that you're trying to do, but it's dumb and it's silly. Well, let's move on. All right. Yeah, this is a subject that I actually think deserves a little bit of nuance. But I will say that I believe that this subject is being manipulated by the media to put you into a weird state of mind. Why experts worry TikTok could add to mental health crisis among U.S. teens. Now, out the gate, replace TikTok with social media, and then, in your brain, just replace TikTok with social media. There is nothing special about TikTok. The idea that you would ban TikTok and not Twitter is ridiculous. The idea that you would regulate TikTok and not YouTube is ridiculous. The idea that you would try to put any sort of restrictions on TikTok and not Instagram is ridiculous. It's social media that's the problem. TikTok is just one application out of multiple of dozens of applications that cause children to fall into social media dopamine addictions. Okay? So, out the gate, just replace TikTok with all social media, and then this article is going to make a little bit more sense, right? And that's why I said this is a little bit of a nuanced conversation. Jerome Yankley said he used to pull all-nighters when he was in college, not studying or partying, but scrolling on TikTok until the sun came up. Hey, I've done the same thing with Twitter. Quote, I saw me not putting effort into my own life, rather just trying to live vicariously through what I'm seeing, said 23-year-old Yankee. He said he lost sleep, his grades suffered, and he fell out of touch with his friends and himself. In 2021, he deleted the app. The positive impact, he said, was obvious. It's so great to be able to be sleeping again starting at midnight. Well, maybe you should go a little earlier. It's great to be able to be up early and be more productive with the sun. Now, this is a great comment. Okay. To be more productive with the sun. Like what? The sun? The sun? We're going to be productive with the sun? What is this fucking shit? Is this some like 18th century poetry? Like, is this like some haiku? Like, we're going to be productive with the sun? You know, what the hell? The sun? Why are we getting the sun involved in here? But anyway. In recent months, TikTok has faced growing pressure from state and federal lawmakers over concerns about its ties to China through its parent company ByteDance. But some lawmakers and researchers have been scrutinizing the impact that the short-form video app may have on its youngest users. Now again, these are two entirely separate issues, right? You cannot like TikTok specifically because of its ties to China. That's one thing. That has nothing to do with the fact that TikTok is nothing special when it comes to social media. Does anyone remember that Vine bullshit? Does anyone remember that? That was like way less than TikToks ever were. Wasn't that like 5 seconds? Or I don't even know. I never used it. But like, does anyone remember like YouTube Shorts? Like that just started being a thing. YouTube Shorts are not allowed to have anything more than like a minute and a half or whatever, right? Twitter videos are capped out at 2 minutes, right? So the idea that TikTok is something special here is fucking ridiculous. It's garbage. It's made up trash. And combining the issue with TikTok's parent company with the issue of mental health is just, it's not logical, okay? It's just illogical garbage. GOP Rep Mike Gallagher, the incoming chairman of the new House Select Committee on China, recently called TikTok digital fentanyl for allegedly having a corrosive impact of constant social media use. Now again, TikTok is nothing special. Now I know I said this already, and I know if you already go into this and we're going to discuss social media as a whole, this article makes more sense. But I really need to debunk this insinuation that TikTok is a unique evil, right? Twitter is horrible. YouTube maybe is the least horrible. You know, Twitch, horrible. Instagram, my God, Instagram is so terrible. Facebook, horrible. All social media is a net negative at this point. We have found that out. Everyone is more stressed. Everyone has less friends. No one knows how to even socialize anymore. Everyone's at each other's throats all the time. Thanks, social media. What is TikTok, like 3-4 years old? Like, the idea that TikTok is worse than Twitter is a joke. Twitter is a fucking dumpster fire. Instagram is a fucking dumpster fire. The idea that TikTok is any worse than those is a fucking joke. Let's be honest. TikTok is far from the only social platform to be scrutinized by lawmakers and mental health experts for its impact on teens. Top executives from several companies, including TikTok, have been grilled in Congress on the matter. And this week, Seattle Public Schools sued social media companies like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and YouTube, alleging the platforms have been causing a youth mental health crisis, making it hard for the school system to, quote, fulfill its educational mission. So at least they're actually throwing some interesting stuff in there once again. How do we fix this issue? I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I don't think we should ban social media. I don't. I think we should reform. First of all, if I were the empress of the world, what would I do? I would immediately destroy all algorithms. Destroy them all. Social media algorithms are trained on hate, division, and again, dopamine. Social media is directly linked to dopamine addiction. You post something, right? You post something. You keep refreshing it until someone responds. Oh, I got 3 views. Oh, I got 3 views. Oh, I know it looks like I'm fucking jerking off here, but this is like, you know, the thumb on your phone. That's what I'm going for. But, you know, you keep doing that. Why? What are you addicted to? The dopamine? Seeing the notification? What happens with social media addiction is you're unable to get the same hit of dopamine for doing regular tasks, such as, I don't know, drinking water. Right? So I would immediately destroy all the algorithms. We don't need algorithms. The only thing we need is a search engine that works. That's it. If you want to search for funny cat videos, you're going to find some funny cat videos. What we need is a search engine that works, proper tagging systems. Remember when YouTube had tags? I mean, they still do, but they're useless. But remember when YouTube had tags? And they actually mattered? You know what I mean? Nowadays, they're useless. Why? Because the algorithm takes precedence over all. And the algorithm, once again, is trained on hate, division, and dopamine addiction. Psychologist Dr. Jean Twenge said TikTok's algorithm is particularly in particular is very sophisticated and very sticky, which keeps teens engaged in the platform longer. TikTok has amassed more than 1 billion global users. Those users spent an average of an hour and a half per day on the app in the last year. That is insane. But once again, how much time do you spend on YouTube? I do an hour and a half show on YouTube. So, how much time do you spend on Twitter? On Twitch? On any social media? So, quote, a lot of teens describe the experience of going on TikTok and intending to spend 15 minutes and then they spend 2 hours or more. That's problematic because the more time a teen spends on social media, the more likely he or she is to be depressed. And that is particularly true for the extremes of use. Now, why are they going to be depressed? Well, one, they're going to be inundated with unrealistic beauty standards and expectations. For example, especially young girls, they look at things on Instagram, they see, wow, everyone's so pretty all the time, of course, because the algorithm puts people on the top who spend a lot of time using filters, Photoshop, extensive amounts of makeup to acquire unrealistic beauty standards, right? And then young, impressionable teen girls are going to see that and they're going to go like, why am I not that pretty? Now I'm depressed, right? So that's one. You know, and that applies to all the genders, you know, and all that stuff too. But it's especially prevalent in young girl populations. But again, two, dopamine addiction. When you're scrolling through hundreds of videos or thousands of videos in a day, right? And then each one, you know, is getting that hit of dopamine. You're seeing a little, oh yeah, notification. Oh, someone liked my comment, right? That makes it way harder to feel engaged doing anything else. Doing anything else. Cooking food. I mean, do kids even know how to cook food? I don't know. Going to school, filling out a test, you know, learning something, watching a documentary, right? When you are addicted to the dopamine cycles of social media, it creates depression because nothing else can fulfill that addiction. And that is why you need social media, because it is an addiction. You are addicted to the dopamine rush that you get on this social media platform, and it makes the quality of every other aspect of your life worse. And so what are ways to combat this? Well, the first one, mindfulness. Knowing what's going on. When I go on Twitter, I know for a fact that I am wasting my time. I go on Twitter every once in a while just to see what the freaks are up to. You know, just to see. Get a little, you know, look at the zoo. Go to the zoo for a little bit. That's how I view Twitter. I don't want to get super engaged in Twitter arguments. Now I'll argue on Twitter just for fun. Right? But there are people that literally spend all day arguing on Twitter. There are people that literally, they wake up in the middle of the night just to check whether or not someone responded to their argument on Twitter. Same applies to Facebook, YouTube, etc., right? So again, a lot of people are addicted to this. This is not exclusive to TikTok. TikTok's algorithm may be insidious, but so is Twitter's, so is YouTube's. A lot of these algorithms are insidious. Between 2004 and 19, the rate of teen depression nearly doubled, according to the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. And for teen girls, it's worse. Teen girls, it's worse. By 2019, 1 in 4 U.S. girls have experienced clinical depression. That's crazy. Now, do I think it's social media exclusively that causes this? No, I don't. I think the world is getting a lot worse. I think people are getting a lot worse. Our systems, our institutions are more obviously propped up in scams than ever. There's a lot of reasons to be depressed. People are poor, people are impoverished, people are unhealthy. By the way, according to the CDC, 96% of kids have gotten COVID at least once. Hey, I don't know, man. I'm sure that's going to take a toll on mental health and physical health. But of course, this data stops at 19, so we'll have to wait and see for that one. TikTok said it has tools to help users set limits for how long they spend on the app each day. TikTok also continues to roll out other safeguards for users, including ways to filter out mature or potentially problematic videos. I love, like, how do you define that? Potentially problematic. Quote, one of the most important commitments is supporting the safety and well-being of teens, and we recognize the work is never finished, blah, 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 TikTok said in a statement. The company said between April and June of 22, it removed 93.4% of videos on self-harm and suicide from the app before they were ever viewed. 93% of videos on self-harm and suicide? Why is that something to be proud of? Why is this something to be proud of? Like this, they're bragging about this. The company said between April and June of 2022, it removed 93.4% of videos on self-harm and suicide from the app before they were ever viewed. That's horrible. That is disgusting. Most videos that people make on suicide and self-harm are geared around prevention. People that hurt themselves and find a way to get out of the cycle and break the cycle might want to make content to help other people avoid the cycle or also get help. Why should that not be allowed to be viewed? Now again, videos on self-harm and suicide. Does that mean people are posting videos of them hurting themselves? Because that's not... When I read on self-harm, you know, it didn't say 93% of videos that feature self-harm or suicide. It said videos that cover those subject matter, which are extremely important. Does anyone else, by the way, and I say this as a suicide attempt survivor, but does anyone else really get fucking pissed the fuck off when mainstream media and tech companies and society writ large try to police how we're allowed to talk about depression and suicide and self-harm? You know, if I talk about suicide, I have to deal with the warnings. Call the suicide hotline. That's most definitely going to call the police on you for sure if you tell them anything even remotely personal. If you're feeling anything. That never helps. I'm sorry. The idea that I'm not allowed to talk about my personal history and story on TikTok because they want to pretend like they're doing something is fucking ridiculous garbage. Ridiculous fucking garbage. Ridiculous fucking garbage. I hate when normies want to police how I talk about my experience. Go fuck yourself. And the idea that TikTok is saying that and bragging about it is hilarious. But teens say it's not the most egregious videos that keep them engaged. It's the content programmed to them in the For You section of the app. It's so curated to you, said Angelica Faustino, an 18-year-old sophomore at the University of Buffalo. 18-year-old sophomore? Damn. I'm impressed. Who says she spends 3 to 4 hours a day on TikTok. It's insane. You can be spending 4 hours a day watching classic movies. You can spend 4 hours a day watching goddamn Stanley Kubrick films. Instead, you're wasting your time on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. These uncultured fucking children these days. These uncultured swine. There's a lot of body checking on TikTok. A lot of people showing off things about themselves that are maybe unachievable. You see if enough times you are like, maybe I should be that way. Jesus. I mean, that's something that, like, might sound okay, but, like, when converted to text, right? When converted to text, you know, you see if enough times you are like, maybe I should be in the, yeah, maybe you should get the fuck off TikTok. I don't know, 18-year-old sophomore at a university, I mean, that makes them sound smart, but I mean, like, what, you see if enough times you are like, maybe I should, I'm sorry. I don't want to pick on them too much, but I'm just like, at this, like, I would have preferred if they would have used like the brackets and the sick or something so that we could convert that to English, but hey, whatever. For all the concerns, however, there are signs that TikTok and other social networks can have a positive impact on younger users too. The majority of teens say social media can be a space for connection and creativity, according to Pew Research. 8 in 10 teens, ages 13 to 17, say social media makes them feel more connected to what's going on in their friends' lives, and 71% say social media is a place where they can be creative. Now, again, that's the good stuff, and that's why, again, I wouldn't ban social media. The big thing that I have a problem with is the algorithm. I would ban algorithms. I would ban specifically tailored algorithms. I would ban data collection. Every time you load TikTok servers should treat you as if you've just installed the application. Any personalized data collection is going to fuck shit up, and it's going to lead to a lot of problems, and it's going to send people down rabbit holes. Okay, rabbit holes. I'm just saying. So that is the major reform I would advocate for. And in some Generation Z, the generation that has been raised on TikTok, have found unique opportunities on the platform. Hannah Williams spends her time on TikTok running her business, Salary Transparent Street. She interviews everyday Americans about the salary they make at their jobs, providing pay transparency to her nearly 1 million followers. I quit my job in May of 22 to work on my social media page on TikTok full-time because I saw a great opportunity to do something with my career, said 26-year-old Williams. By the way, just saying, 26-year-old, not Generation Z. I'm sorry, that's a millennial. Hey, as a 26-year-old millennial, I'm going to turn 27 soon, but as a 26-year-old millennial, I'm just here to tell you, not Gen Z. Just throwing that out there. I think it's interesting that we can try to use social media to really impact the world for good, she said, and I'm hoping that's what happens. So anyway, if you replace TikTok with social media, this article makes a lot more sense, and it's a conversation that we need to be having. Right? We need to openly discuss negative social media patterns, dopamine addiction, algorithms, and how we communicate to each other, and the dehumanization of each other that is fostered on social media. Is TikTok a problem? It's just as a problem as YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. They're all problems. And the main problem is the algorithm. That's pretty much it. Once we tackle the algorithm, I feel like we can then have a way easier conversation about how to move in our society in regards to these things. But anyway, that's it. I don't know if I have anything else to say. That's it. I've known Andrea since she was 25. Oof, the good old days. Good old days. Everybody, I am very close to 40% of the way to monetization. I'm currently 38% on my other YouTube channel. Check it out. Trying to monetize that bitch. Hello? Trying to monetize that motherfucking bitch. 38% of the way there. My dopamine level is dropping. Please say hi to me. Quick! Macaroni! Macaroni, 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 macaroni. See, now you're addicted. Now I got a hold on you. And I'm never going to let you go. Macaroni, macaroni. It's over for you. Anyway, subscribe to my other YouTube channel. I'm trying to make some money here. So, back me up. Alright, y'all. So I've saved the best for last. In fact, let me drink some water for this one. AKA La Croix Seltzer. So about, I want to say 4 months ago, Joseph Robinette Ding Dong II said in a very public, high-profile interview on mainstream media that the pandemic was over. Take your masks off, everybody. It's all good. Going into winter and the holiday season. The CDC's official guidelines say that they will broadcast when new variants emerge that reach 1% of total prevalence in the COVID-19 total pool. A new variant called XBB.1.5 reached 1% prevalence in mid-November. The CDC covered that information up. Did Biden direct the CDC to cover up the information? I don't know. But the CDC covered up information on XBB.1.5 until after Christmas. Nearly 2 months after their own stated guidelines would have said that they needed to talk about this variant, they then said after not it reached 1%, they made it public after it reached over 40% prevalence in the country. And then Joe Biden went around and banned, or rather, I guess, restricted travel from China. Because you never know what those dirty Chinese might have up their sleeve, right? Right, Trump? I mean, Biden? Whereas in the United States, the CDC covered up new data on a homegrown variant that is now spreading across the world, while the government maintains that China are the ones we need to be afraid of. We need to be afraid of China, Joe Biden says, as the CDC covered up the deadliest, most transmissible variant that we've ever seen that was birthed in the northeastern United States. And so, with that recap, I want to jump in to the dumbest shit for brains article you'll ever see. Republicans demand end to COVID-19 emergency declaration. Biden admin renews emergency declaration 4 months after president declared pandemic is over. Just let it sink in. Joe Biden lied to the American people, and we can only assume he directed the CDC to cover up information. Joe Biden, his mission was not ending COVID. His mission was killing as many people as possible with COVID to the point where it's become normalized. And that mission was accomplished. Joe Biden, when it comes to COVID, is significantly worse than Donald Trump. Honestly, at this point, anyone that maintains that Donald Trump is worse than Biden on COVID, I think, is a fucking moron or a liberal. But hey, what's the difference? So, Joe Biden lied and covered up information on COVID, and now Republicans are pointing to that and saying, hey, you said it was over. House Republicans are calling on Health and Human Services Secretary Xavier Becerra to end the COVID-19 public health emergency after the department extended it for the 12th time Wednesday. The group of Republicans led by Representative Troy Nehls, R. Texas, sent a letter to Becerra on Wednesday afternoon demanding the public health emergency declaration be withdrawn or else submitted in writing justification for its continuation by February 10. Quote, the continued extensions of public health emergency calls into question the legality of the expanding powers of the executive branch, blah, 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 stupid garbage. Quote, the continued lack of clarity and mixed guidance from the administration also fails to reassure Americans that they can participate safely in everyday society. Meanwhile, restaurants, bars, sporting arenas, and venues alike have been open and operating at full capacity, yet the administration continues to unsoundly reissue PHE extensions. This is why I say Democrats on COVID are worse than Republicans. Republicans are brazenly like, let's kill everybody, yo. Mass slaughter, I'm in. Democrats love to pretend to trust the science, right? The party of science, right? Right? No, wrong. Democrats are not the party of science. They just have different brands of conspiracy theories. But once again, all this is doing is muddying the waters. The average American is going to see stuff like this, and they're going to be confused. Who do I listen to? The CDC is covering information up. Joe Biden is telling people to take their mask off. And also, the health secretary is saying that we're still in a pandemic. Joe Biden is saying the pandemic's over. So now Republicans seem like the smart guys in the room. And I wonder what kind of disaster that's going to befall upon to America. I don't know what to tell y'all. But bipartisanship has reached a new all-time high. Both parties are genocidal when it comes to COVID. Both parties want you to die. They want you to catch a disease over and over and over again to reduce the quality of your immune system. They want you to be addicted to drugs that they're going to develop and sell. This is all part of their plan. Now, people say, why do you think that they're planning something so evil? Is it possible they're just stupid? Maybe. But if you want me to believe that a high school dropout who just watches medical podcasts is somehow more competent and knowledgeable than the entire White House, the entire executive branch, the entire Democratic Party? Somehow I have more information than they do? Somehow I know things that they don't? I'm sorry, I refuse to believe that. I refuse. I'm sorry, I just plain old refuse to believe that I would have more information than the White House. And if you want me to believe that, you're going to have to convince me in some other way, because I can't figure that out. And so that leaves the only option here, that this is on purpose. That this is with willful intent. And if the action, if the result of these policies and these statements are resulting in millions of more dead motherfuckers, the last time we had millions of dead motherfuckers, we called that a Holocaust. We called that a genocide. The WHO knows how deadly these variants are. The CDC knows how deadly these variants are. They know monoclonal antibodies are in a shortage and also don't work with the new variants. They know that the vaccines are not actually good at stopping transmission because these variants have grown to evolve around the vaccines because certain populations refused to vaccinate themselves and gave these viruses more time to mutate so that they can be vaccine resistant. So what other word applies other than genocide? I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for someone to tell me how this isn't genocide. Millions of dead motherfuckers, and we're just getting started. Historically speaking, 30 years, 40 years from now, I don't think that this is going to be called the COVID-19 pandemic. I think we're going to be changing the name of this pandemic era that we're living through at some point. And I think maybe it'll be 10 years, maybe it'll be 20. But I think this period that we have just started living through, I think is going to be a long and dreadful period with mass death, mass sickness, and mass disability. And I think historically speaking, we're just getting started. We're 4 years in and we're just getting started. So I think the COVID-19 pandemic, we need a new name. Maybe the 10-year pandemic, the Great Pandemic, the 20-year pandemic, who knows? But I don't think, once 2034 rolls around, can we really be calling this shit the COVID-19 pandemic still? We're going to have to come up with a new name at some point. The letter cited President Biden's 60 Minutes interview in September 2022 when he declared twice the COVID pandemic was over. Quote, this is Joe Biden, not Donald Trump. This is Joe Biden. The pandemic is over. We still have a problem with COVID. We're still doing a lot of work on it. If you notice, no one's wearing a mask. Everybody seems to be in pretty good shape. Believe me, many people, they tell me, I don't need my mask. I feel great. That's Joe Biden. Now, tell me, what other word besides genocide would apply to willfully, knowledgeably, intentionally telling people to do the opposite of what they need to. Tell me. I'm waiting. If I told someone to eat cyanide and I said the cyanide was good for them and then they died, is that not murder? I didn't force them to eat the cyanide. I didn't jam it down their throat. Is that not murder? Wednesday's letter to the Biden administration is signed by 13 Republicans. Who cares? Quote, today, HHS Secretary Xavier Becerra decided again to extend the COVID-19 public health emergency for another 90 days, which was first implemented by Secretary Azar nearly 3 years ago. As members of Congress, our solemn duty is to hold unelected bureaucrats accountable. I am proud to have led this letter with 12 of my colleagues. Now, again, they're not being held accountable. They're being proven to be hypocrites. Absolutely. But are they being held accountable? No. And once again, I have two options here. Option one, the leopards eating faces party. Yeah, I'm going to steer clear of those guys. And then, option two, the leopards would never eat your face. Everything is fine, party. Which one is worse? The one that advertises its mania on its sleeve? Or the one that lulls you into a false sense of security before pulling the trigger? I don't know. So anyway, good job, Joe Biden, for making Republicans look more reasonable than Democrats. As if Republican QAnon conspiracy networks of anti-vax lunacy needed any more help. Thanks, Joe Biden. Joe Biden will go down in the history books as being the president who convinced America that we all needed to kill each other and ourselves. Now, once again, let me just tell you, Donald Trump, horrible on COVID. There are three main cohorts in America, right? Democrat or liberal, Republican or Nazi, apolitical or independent. Right? Those are three demographics that we have. That, voting cohorts, or, they vote by not voting, whatever. Donald Trump, in handling the pandemic, the conservatives, they all followed him into the slaughterhouse. That's one cohort, also the smallest. There are less conservatives than there are liberals and apolitical people, especially combined. Conservatives make up about 18 to 20% of the population, right? Nazis, neo-Nazis. We're talking about KKK members, right? So they were a write-off. We write them off with everything anyway, so it's not like, oh, shit, they're a write-off here. Big surprise, okay? Joe Biden enters office. The Republicans are still crazy. The Klansmen are still not following health proper protocols. In fact, they made it even worse. They went into the anti-vaxxer territory, right? But that was a foregone conclusion. But what did Joe Biden do? He flipped the other two cohorts. The Democrats, the liberals, and the independents, apolitical people. He flipped those two cohorts into behaving in the same way as the Republicans did in 2020. The same people that 3 years ago, resist, hashtag wear a mask, are now having weddings, going into restaurants, going to sporting events that are packed, going to concerts, sending their kids to school. What happened to the resisting? What happened to wearing a mask? So, this is why Donald Trump is better on COVID than Joe Biden. Because Donald Trump is so uniquely divisive that he was able to repel, like magnetically repel against those other two cohorts, the liberals, apolitical, and independents, right? They were like, yeah, Donald Trump's probably lying. Joe Biden comes along, sells the same thing. He just wraps the pill in some cheese, and the dumbass fucking Americans gobble it right up. So that's Joe Biden's great contribution to America, is getting a majority of this country to fall in line with QAnon anti-vax conspiracy freaks. 3 years ago, QAnon was a fringe conspiracy group. Now, QAnon policy, when it comes to vaccines, when it comes to pandemic, when it comes to public health, is popular. 85% of the country believes in the QAnon perspective of COVID. Why do I say that? 85% of the country refused to get the latest vaccine. The vaccine, the bivalent booster shot, which is tailored toward the variants that are spreading now, 85% of the country refused. In what universe is that not QAnon policy? QAnon developed that policy. And now 85% of Americans on COVID believe in QAnon. Thanks, Joe Biden. That's pretty much all I have to say. Anyway, that's the show. How's everyone doing today? What are the vibes? Vibe check, everybody. There's a critical lack of stated vibes in the chat room. My vibe is, I'm glad I made it here today. Yo, I am cold as fuck. I am cold as a cocksucker. This is what I'm dealing with? You seeing this shit? This is what I'm dealing with? This is what I have to put up with just to live my life? Can you believe that? Holy fuck. God damn. Jesus Christ. Oh. You're doing decent? Good enough to pass for okay? Well, that's a win. New segment. I would love to know what all clips and vids you watched during a day. Just take a random day, save all the links, and then show us what you watched. That's hard, though. I'd have to, like, be very mindful. I feel like garbage, headache, and stomach. Uh-oh. Sleepy and irritated. Jesus Christ, you people. Goddamn Johnny Too Late's the fucking happy one. What the fuck's going on in this chat room? You'll be surprised to know that I do not consume pornography often. Maybe like once a week, maybe. But honestly, I don't need pornography. This is all the pornography I need. Right up here. I don't want to sound like, one of those Republicans or anything, but actually, I'm not going to lie to y'all. I am more anti-pornography than I am in favor of pornography. I think pornography is a net negative. And I'm willing to argue that, and I don't think we should ban it. But I think pornography is a net negative. But, that may be one of my hot takes. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I'm willing to defend my arguments. The idea came to me because I like to see COVID medical vids and other stuff you watch for your info. Yeah, I don't watch as much as I used to when it comes to COVID. I more so read. I like to read like COVID news every day, and I follow a lot of doctors on Twitter and stuff. Oh, I'm not a swerf. I think people that are able to make a career from pornography that doesn't involve going into the porn industry, I think that's great. Huge W. I just think pornography consumption should be treated like any other drug. This is my opinion, right? I think pornography is addictive, and it should be used as a drug, and it should be treated as a drug. And using pornography every day, I mean, whether or not you want to believe that it doesn't affect you, it does affect you. Right? And, hey, I used to be a lot more into pornography than I am now. And I can say, mentally, I feel better. My sex life is better. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. So that's all my opinion is, Now, again, I'm not saying we should ban it. I'm not saying that you should never use it. I love drugs. I use drugs all the time, right? So, but in the same way that I wouldn't want to drink excessively every day, I don't need to be using pornography every day. Now, coffee, on the other hand, I will be drinking coffee every day. SWERF stands for sex worker exclusionary radical feminist. People that think feminism is, like it's the women weren't whores back in the 50s kind of shit. It's like the TERF equivalent, or it's like we need to embrace tradition. Women belong in the kitchen, not in front of your webcam or whatever. Stupid ass garbage. I like nudity more than pornography. Speaking of nudity in film, I watched a movie yesterday. I'm not doing a movie review. This is just, off the cuff here. But I watched Blonde yesterday. Anyone see Blonde? Now, I don't want to do a movie review. I'm taking a break from that for a little bit. But damn. Whether, whatever your opinions are on the subject matter or the historical accuracy, that's not, I don't care about that. But as far as, artistic work, Blonde on Netflix, check it out. Check it out. Preferably on drugs. I mean, I'm just saying. I wish I did more drugs. I didn't know that would be such a great movie. And I was painfully too sober. Now, I was not sober, but I was too sober. I wish I had done more drugs. Goddamn, that movie was awesome. True feminism is based on equality for everyone. I'm a dude, and I support the fuck out of women's lib and everyone being treated equally. I agree. Shout out to Joyce Carol Oates, awesome author who wrote the novel Blonde, which I still haven't read, but at least own. Yeah, maybe I'll read the novel, but the movie was incredible. I mean, now again, I am not a Marilyn Monroe historian, right? So, as far as historical accuracy, I don't know anything about that. But as far as a movie, now, I'm serious though, like a 2022 movie produced by Netflix, I was shocked. Like, the movie, the way it's filmed, its presentation, it feels like something of another era. It feels like something, it doesn't feel like a Netflix film. It feels like an independent hodgepodge of like people that are on drugs, you know, making them. It's an incredible movie, artistically speaking. Now, again, I'm not talking about the historical accuracy or inaccuracy. I know a lot of people, when they review biopics, that's what they focus on. I don't care about that. I highly recommend, if you have Netflix, it's about 3 hours long, but if you have Netflix, I highly recommend Blonde. This fourth line tends to be, women are wilting flowers who simply cannot possibly have enough agency to decide to be a sex worker. Now, I will say this. I think that, now, first of all, you know, what is the most common form of sex work that we see on the internet today? OnlyFans? OnlyFans is horrible. It's terrible. It's a terrible website, and they steal people's money. I don't know about you, but if I want to pay someone who I find attractive, and I want to pay them so that I can see them naked, and I give them $10, I would want them to have $10. I wouldn't want them to have $5. I wouldn't want them to have $7. So I think that there is a massive problem. I also think that social media algorithms, when it comes to sex work, is another problem. I think people that are sex workers feel compelled to do things that they otherwise maybe wouldn't want to do because they feel like it could generate more traffic or whatever. And that feeling comes from the fact that OnlyFans takes like half their cut or whatever. So that's a huge problem. My opinion is, if you want to support a sex worker, if they have any sort of direct donation, that's the way to go. I think sites like OnlyFans, I am also willing to say that sites like OnlyFans should be illegal. But not because it hosts sexual content, but because they take massive cuts from people's pay. There's no transparency with algorithms. And it's just, it's a hell world. In the same way that I don't like any pornography website. I have no problem with pornography. I have no problem with people doing that. It's just, I don't want to give my money to a corporation. If I want to jerk off to someone, I want to give them the money. I want them to get the money. I already do that, Rielon. So, anyway, that's a subject I don't talk about too much. So, feel free to ask any more if you want to know. What's the command? I don't know what that means, Rielon. What's the command? Is that like a sex thing? Are you asking about like a safe word? I don't know what that means. Oh, like one of those? I don't have any of that on anything. I think that shit's stupid. You know, I don't want to say it's stupid for other people, but I think bots and everything is just stupid. Yeah, it's linked in the bio. I don't have bots. I don't want bots in my chat. I am not a streamer. I am someone who streams, but I am not a streamer. But yeah, it's in the bio for sure. Speaking of Twitch, I may stream later, so if you want to help, want to pop in, it'd be cool. Or if you don't, feel free not to, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I would do a guest host. But, like, the only way I would ever have a guest host is if I got to pick all, maybe sans one, but if I got to pick the subject matter. So I pick the news stories. Maybe I'll let them have one or two, right? And then they got to do my agenda. That's the only way I would have a guest host. I don't want someone to come on here and start spewing their own shit. You know? But yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, yo. Bye-bye!